Hello, everyone, and welcome to the series premiere of Star Trek Amaterasu, an intelligence geared game set in the year 2395 aboard a brand new Odyssey class. My name is ELH the Game Master, and today's rule set is Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition. So I will be doing my best to teach as we go, but if you've watched any of my first edition streams, you probably know a bulk of what is going to go on. But other than that, I have no other announcements. I'm eager to get started, so let's do introductions, and we'll do just that. So, Matthew, anything you want to shout out, and who you playing?
Hello, everyone. As you've already heard, my name is Matthew. I'm sure most of you are familiar with me already. I am playing the Cardassian medical expert in infectious diseases, Amin Matan.
All right, Techno.
Hi everyone, Techno Nerd. I am going to be playing the Beta Z or Beta Zoid Lieutenant Commander, Intelligence Officer, Jeanette Cato, and very excited to be playing a new game. So, yeah, let's get on with it.
All right, and last but not least, Bean.
Hello, I'm Bean_Goblin. You can find my name elsewhere if you want to. Go search it if you have. But right now, I'm playing Amaterasu, the AI of our upcoming ship that we're going to get to.
All right, and with that, what's a Techno Nerd stream without an intro? So let's see that beautiful new piece. And welcome back. And of course, thank you, Techno, for that lovely new intro. Well, today we are actually starting on the Aquarius escort attached to the Amaterasu. And I believe, Techno, Kato has the opening log, so please take it away.
Thank you. Lieutenant Commander's Log, Auxiliary Craft U.S.S. Amaterasu, Stardate 72013.9. We are recently underway from Starbase 12 with a complement of new crew, myself included, underway for our mothership, the U.S.S. Amaterasu, the Odyssey-class vessel assigned by Starfleet to patrol the far side of Pandora's Gate, a rare subspace gateway that seems to have formed or have been formed between our galaxy and the Andromeda Galaxy. Having come aboard and taken command of many new crewmen, I can sense a considerable amount of excitement, albeit mixed with some barely concealed anxiety. I suppose that's to be expected when traveling into the unknown. And what an unknown this is. A whole new galaxy to explore. New species, new phenomena, new worlds, all full of new and wondrous things to discover, new peoples and cultures to study, new languages and technology. The final frontier has expanded just that little bit further, and I'm so excited to be on the forefront. While I've not yet been given any insight into exactly what our mission will be from an intelligence perspective, I've no doubt we'll be given more information once we board the Amaterasu and we've reported to our handler, Commander Mara. In the meantime, our short transit will apparently not be without its own challenges. Lieutenant Commander Armin Matan, our most senior medical officer aboard, has asked to speak with me regarding the state of our sickbay and the overflow of main computer parts from the main cargo bay, and the embedded ship intelligence we've been tasked with delivering to the Amaterasu. While my ability to read Cardassian minds is somewhat limited, thanks to their physiology, the good doctor at least seems to be more honest with his emotions than most. I suppose that may help with making this exchange, and I suppose my first test as ship's commander a little easier. End recording and encrypt log.
Very nice. You may have 1 momentum for that, and thanks to chat also giving you momentum, you're up to 2 to start today's session. And chat, I'm just going to take the threat for the complication you've redeemed, so I'm at 8 instead of 6. But yeah, we start with an exterior shot of the Amaterasu, the Aquarius class, as it flies at warp speed through space. And we zoom in through one of the windows until we arrive in the Defiant class-like sickbay of the escort. And what I mean by that is it's quite literally the same size of what the Canis Major's mess hall was. So you maybe have 2 bio beds. You have a little bit of sitting space, like there's 1 or 2 chairs with terminals next to them. And then there's a bunch of computer parts that are just filling up the space. But as we zoom in, I believe we see Matan and we see Kato. What do they look like? Because again, I know on stream people can see, but for the people listening on podcast, what do they look like?
Matt, do you want to go ahead?
You can start if you want.
Okay, sure. So Jeanette Kato is a male betazoid. He has sort of slightly olive-ish skin, and what on a human would be considered to be sort of Asian features. Very black eyes, so like no real distinction between the pupil and the rest of the eye, just incredibly black, as is common with most full betazoids. And he is wearing the Odyssey class uniform from Star Trek Online, which is very similar to the First Contact uniform, except rather than have the red or the blue or the gold, he has a sort of bluish purple tint to his uniform, indicating his intelligence division.
And Amun Matan, who is standing there surveying that collection of spare parts, is a somewhat diminutive and svelte Cardassian male. He has a shock of closely cut black hair that's receding slightly, kind of like mine, but a little bit worse, maybe where I'll be in 10 years. And a very regimented mustache that he is stroking at pensively. He's wearing medical blue, but an intelligence uniform, which is very similar again to the sort of Star Trek Online and Star Trek, I guess, late DS9 uniform. It's white with a thin band of blue and then a kind of grayish black or charcoal black over the shoulders. And he looks pensive and slightly perturbed as he scrolls through a pad and occasionally reaches up to stroke that mustache.
I mean, Doctor, really, there's nowhere else to put it, is the thing.
The sickbay is woefully inefficient. It's simply not sufficient to the task that I have been assigned. I can't work in these conditions.
Now I can sense you're feeling very frustrated about this, and I understand completely. But I want to emphasize that not only is this a support craft for a much larger vessel, we're lucky to have a sick bay at all, but we're on a very short hop from Starbase 12 to our mothership. You know, it really won't be an issue, or it shouldn't be an issue for us.
We're lucky to have a sick bay at all. Do you realize what that sounds like? The sick bay may be, other than a warp core perhaps, although you can actually get by without a warp core under some circumstances, the most important part of any vessel. I mean, if you get injured, you're going to want nothing more than a well-organized sick bay, not a trash dump. Gestures out towards this random sort of collection of different parts.
I understand completely, Doctor. I really do. This is unfortunately just the only way we can do this, other than just clutter up the hallways. And I'm sure that you understand that if we did that, you'd probably have more injuries for your woefully inadequate sick bay, as you put it. Now, perhaps my choice of words wasn't as good as it could have been. I didn't mean to say we were lucky to have a sick bay. What I meant was that were this a shuttlecraft or a runabout, even, we wouldn't have any of the facilities that we have here. And while while the sick bay is small, it's entirely your domain as soon as we get to the main ship. Until then, there really is no other place to go. The main cargo bay is full of these computer parts, and they have to go somewhere.
They couldn't have gone in, I don't know, your quarters or something?
I barely have quarters aboard. I mean, to call it a cupboard would be better than. Yeah,
Certainly, you have the second bunk that you could have stored it there.
Actually, I don't have a second bunk in my.
Oh well, aren't you lucky? You get private quarters then.
Well, I mean, again, private in so much as I have a bunk aboard the ship.
I understand your position and the fact that this ship is incredibly small, so I guess I'll make do with what space I have. But of greater concern to me is this. And he turns over the pad and hands it over to you.
Thank you. And before I read this, just want to say I'm very appreciative of the concession you're making there. I do appreciate it, and I will make a point when we get back that it should not have been stacked here. The yard hands should have found somewhere better for it, but we are where we are. So, and this is the only place near a working transporter. So, I guess they were making do. But I do appreciate the concession you're making, Doctor.
He looks sort of slightly uncomfortable. And well, it's the least I can do, I suppose. We all have to make accommodations. But what I cannot accommodate is what's on that pad. And you see in front of you this extended list of basically what is the term I'm looking for? I'm blanking. But it's an indication, or it's a list of all the things that are present in the sick bay, the various different stores of medical supplies that have been logged. I've done an itemized survey of all the medical supplies aboard, and you'll notice that we have 4 fewer vials of promochloroparazine than have been actually recorded on the manifest. And fully three of the psilocybin suppressants are actually neurozine injections. I don't know who conducted the original survey of the material that's stocked on this vessel, but it was, well, again, woefully inadequate. I can't work with this kind of disorganization.
Jeanette's just waiting to get a word in edgeways. Okay. I mean, I'm an intelligence officer, not medical staff. I'm sure this is important. And he sort of says that with sort of a questioning tone.
Well, yes, I imagine if you were under assault by some sort of telepathic entity that was leveraging your native abilities to affect you psychologically, you wouldn't want to be injected with a sedative instead of a psilocybin suppressant.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. Again, do we feel like that's entirely likely in the short jump between Starbase 12 and our destination?
Well, if I hadn't conducted that inventory, it could have happened at some point in the future. I reach for a psilocybin suppressant, and suddenly I find that the hypo spray was in fact loaded with neurozine. That it would be. I wouldn't want to even contemplate what would happen to you.
Well, I admire your dedication and your. We will discuss this when we get to the Amaterasu, I assure you, because yes, I wouldn't want to be in that situation either, but there's little we can do now we're underway.
Well, I've reorganized everything. It's appropriate. It's all been put away in its proper place. And that's incredibly important. We have to minimize the potential for chaos and for disorganization so that when crisis does occur, we'll be prepared for the ensuing chaos.
Yes. Okay. I agree. And I will bring this up with the loading master when we get to the Amaterasu. In the meantime, can you replicate the stores that you're missing?
I don't think we'll actually need them before we arrive. But if we did, that's the principle.
I see. Well, I have your notes here. I will take them and pass them on with obviously your very severe warnings of what could happen, and hopefully they will be taken with the severity that they deserve.
Wonderful, Commander. You have comported yourself wonderfully. I greatly appreciate the accommodation and the understanding. I think we're going to get along very well.
Well, I should hope so. um, yes, there's a lot of crew on this. Well, there's not a lot of crew on this ship,
There
but
are
there
two
will
of us.
be.
I don't think there's a
Well,
lot of crew on the ship.
Actually, there are three of us.
Did that actually come out of like the comm systems?
Yeah.
I meant merely from my own perspective as a doctor. Obviously, I can't treat you. Therefore, I'm thinking about this in
Lieutenant
you
Commander
know,
Ramon, I would
practical
like you not
terms.
to call my auxiliary central processing unit junk.
It's a euphemism.
It is also high-tech Starfleet intelligence equipment, and I do apologize for the inconvenience that part of my body is providing you, but please refrain from calling it junk.
Can you technically refer to that as part of your body? It's more of
I'm currently
an ancillary organ that could be used to replace one that's in your body at the moment. It's more like a
So what you're saying
genetically
is that your
replicated
heart is not part of your
organelle.
body, that can be replaced with a synthetic replicant or a biologically created replicant.
Well,
As
no,
such,
it's
as
sitting
such,
right
that
there. It's not part of your body yet,
it's wirelessly connected to me.
is it?
Yes, all my parts are. They have to be until reconnected to the main body.
Oh, I'm
they
sorry.
they
I thought
are
that was just a piece of well backup material that would be installed if necessary.
I do apologize about the size of the box. It's currently there to ensure that the internal mechanisms are not damaged during transit. I believe the ensign put it on the bed for it would make me comfortable, which I did not understand since that part of me doesn't have any sense of touch.
I'm sure they had your best interests at heart, Aegis.
I appreciate the thought.
Mm-hmm. Um, were you listening to the whole conversation?
Was I not meant to? I have to keep listening into all central systems in case there is an emergency. Engineering, bridge, medbay. If you were in your private quarters, I would not interpose into your privacy. However, this is a main working area, so I will need to keep listening 24/7 unless it's indicated otherwise.
No, I understand. I suppose I'm just going to have to adjust to working with a
An
what.
omniscient artificial intelligence.
Well, I was going to ask what their preferred term was, but yes, effectively,
Synthetic life form, if you wish to pose it into a simple description.
a synthetic life form. Yes, I'm going to have to get used to that, and I beg your indulgence while I adjust to that new
Of
paradigm.
course, I
Hmm.
understand.
Um, you mentioned parts of your well, not this specific part, obviously, and you gestures to
Mhm.
the item on the bio bed. Some of your parts might have tactile sensations. Do we need to be
Correct.
concerned about any of the other items that we've got packed away?
I have recently uploaded a list to your datapad.
Oh, picks up the pad again and has a look. Oh, that many.
Yes,
Um, are you in discomfort at the moment?
currently not.
Apparently not. Good.
Currently
Okay.
not.
Currently not. Excuse
I
me.
do apologize. The wireless nature of my parts being displayed across the ship has reduced my processing capabilities.
Is that at all disconcerting for you to be separated into your constituent elements that way through wireless communication, or
For my primary purpose, yes, since I am not able to fulfill it, but my secondary purposes as a hologram, it would be not a concern.
ah, fascinating?
Would you like me to engage my holographic body so that you may be able to converse with me face to face instead of staring at multiple bulkheads trying to look for my voice?
I must admit it would possibly help. It's very disconcerting.
Down two
Um,
hallways is a mobile emitter, since I am not connected to the ship's holographic sensor suite. If it has one, it does not. I have just checked.
uh, Thank you.
Would you
Yes.
be more comfortable in a holographic form?
I do find conversing with people while being able to see them eye to eye be more comfortable for both me and the other person.
Suppose that's similar to how I feel when I'm conversing with people and trying to judge their emotional states.
I do apologize.
I,
My face is not very expressive, so I will not be able to give you neurological or facial expressions to judge my emotions.
Duly noted. Let's get this mobile emitter of yours online and working, and let's have this conversation in person, so to speak.
The box with my multiple mobile emitters has been highlighted green.
Oh, right. Okay. And I
And
guess,
because I find it funny, this is going to be a control and a con at a difficulty of 0. Literally free momentum for you.
yeah, I'll take
Is
it.
who is rolling that?
This is Kato doing this.
This is Kato. Okay.
Okay.
I'm
If you allow me to interact with your heads up display, I will be able to mark it on your mini maps.
um I don't suppose I have a focus.
No, well, unless you want to tell me how it's infiltration.
Maybe
Well,
you have a computer games focus so we can really gamify this search.
yeah, no, I'll just roll flat. That's fine.
The problem being
Oh.
is that as soon as you take that, you everything is gamified.
Mhm. All right,
Mm-hmm.
well, you get one success, so you get a momentum, and yeah, you find the mobile emitter. It's in a box within a box within a box, but it's basically the
So much
same.
redundant packaging. Why have they stored it like this?
Well, you know how the Federation feels about its secondary backups.
Yes, but we've got tertiary backups here and backups on top of that backup. That seems to be taking things a tad too far.
Well, it
My
is a
central
very
core
large starship.
has four backups.
For backup? Well, I suppose that makes sense in a manner of speaking.
Hmm.
But surely not for packing material. That seems excessive.
Yes.
And
Anyway,
because I find it funny, once again, I'm actually going to give you all a trait in the scene. We're just going to call it excessive bubble wrap. And you might be thinking, ELH, what the hell are you doing? What is a trait? Well, traits were a thing in first edition where they were kind of what you would call an advantage, or they would be something that affected the scene. In second edition Star Trek Adventures, you want to keep track of the traits a little bit more because there is a huge emphasis on traits. In fact, what you would call creating an advantage in first edition is now create or modify a trait in second edition. So it still does the same thing, more or less. It's just, once again, we have to keep track of the traits. And for the people in Foundry, you will find the current trait list above the splash screen, top left corner of the Foundry window. And for anybody else who might be interested in a good tracker for traits, I would recommend the Party Resources module for Foundry. No idea how you do it in Roll20, but for Foundry, Party Resources will do the job. But with excessive bubble wrap in play, you pull out packaging, mobile emitter. There's actually 2 mobile emitters in here. There's one extra. And the mobile emitter looks very similar to the Doctors from Voyagers. So it's kind of that small deltoid kind of thing. And what does it look like when Aegis materializes?
So I guess his appearance is slightly more cartoonish than the rest of the player cast, which is also why I went for like the that but there, that but there. But for those who can't see it, she has pristine porcelain skin with purple irises. She looks human in the sense of that's what the base models is, but every bit of her appearance is a little bit not off-putting, but it's human, like 95% human. She has long white hair, which is a little bit scruffy, And she has the sort of lower deck style uniform in security yellow with a lieutenant commander rank pip system similar to the lower deck system.
Important question. Would you use the word uncanny?
I to other humans, it's a little bit uncanny because she looks not quite human. But for
Mhm.
other species, it's a bit like, ha, that's just a human. Like if somebody was to give you a description of a human, it would fit.
Okay. I will make a note.
Uh, sort of. Um, there you go.
Thank you.
It's nice to see you, to meet you.
It's nice to meet you face to face.
Yes. And sort of Jeanette takes a couple of steps, just sort of back from where Aegis materialized, and obviously underfoot, there's just a crackling pop every step that he takes backwards.
I
It's
assume my
actually a rather
mobile emitter
satisfying
is
sound.
not going back into the into the bubble wrap.
Sorry, you both overlaid on me there. What was that?
I assume that my mobile emitter is not going back into the bubble wrap.
Not this one, certainly.
Hmm.
The secondary one. I'm not sure what you want us to do with that. Did you want to hang on to that or keep it safe somewhere else?
Well, for
Or
now, let's put it onto the bridge of the vessel, just in
oh,
case if
okay,
this
yes,
one
I
has a
will.
system failure.
And he goes to put it in his pocket, and then realizes, of course, that staff uniforms don't have pockets, and just holds on to it. Yes, I'll make sure that it's stowed on the bridge so that we have it in an emergency.
Well, it's funny you said in an emergency.
Oh,
I was waiting for somebody to say it. So what happens is all of a sudden the ship screeches to a halt and red alert sounds as you all are thrown off the deck plating into the walls. But because you have the excessive bubble wrap trait in the scene, you are not damaged. You thought it
yeah.
was just a joke. This is me cleverly showing you how traits can be effective. But all of you are thrown into the wall. The bubble wrap protects you. And whoever's on the comms goes, attention, Lieutenant Commander Kato, I guess, Matan, please report to the bridge.
Affirmative.
I guess.
Guess. Yeah. Okay.
I
Again,
I
Doctor,
sort
let's
of like
still.
scrumple from an odd angle. However, being a hologram, I just sort of flip it back into normal position. It seems my mobile emitter is undamaged. Let's proceed this way. I believe it is this way from the ship's diagram.
You're absolutely right. It is that way, and a couple of decks up. Yes. Let's and Doctor, we'll deal with the uncertainty about your attendance when we get there. I'm sure there's.
Never mind. It's perfectly all right. Just odd.
Well, okay. Let's proceed.
To the bridge.
So while you guys are talking, Aegis has just already made a jaunty walk down the corridor.
Yeah. Following closely behind. Pop, 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 pop.
Mm-hmm. All right, so when you emerge on the bridge, once again, it's very similar to the Defiant class we see in DS9. It's got the central chair still, but most of the consoles are actually built into the wall rather than freestanding. And what you see is that two officers, both human, are currently laid down on the deck plating, both unconscious. And the current con officer is holding his arm in a very awkward angle that might suggest perhaps a break, perhaps a very bad strain. But Matan, you now realize why you were called here.
Report.
And
I
the
will
one
take
with the
over
broken
com.
arm sort of turns and says, well, I don't know what to tell you, sir, but we were flying along just fine. And then all of a sudden there was that. And he points at the view screen. And what you see is an asteroid field. But what I'm going to tell Aegis, because once again, Aegis, you're the ship, you have access to the sensors. This is a location in the Delta Quadrant. You were in
Arrow.
the Alpha Quadrant.
And Ensign, is there any particular reason why?
Stellar cartography has located us into the Delta Quadrant.
Right. Well, that sort of forestalls my my question because That's not where we're
I shall
supposed to be.
assume con and proceed into a hiding position.
Uh,
I
uh,
believe this cartography is similar to the year 3 of the Voyager's trip back from the Delta Quadrant.
hold fire a moment there, Aegis. Let's assess the situation first. There's no need to. In fact, let's not move the ship at all. We don't know what the. Doctor, could you see to the men, please, and address their injuries?
He was already moving as soon as he saw them towards the emergency medical kit on the wall. He's just going to take a quick scan of the two to triage them.
Okay. Give me one moment. Here we go. Just had to swap my microphone over because apparently people were detecting some pops, so I switched it over just to be safe. But yeah, you pull out the medical kit and you begin triage. If you could give me a control and a medicine at a difficulty of 1, please.
I'd like to say xenobiology because he's a Cardassian, and these are probably not Cardassians, but I'm not going to game the system like that. I'll give you 1 momentum to roll 3 dice, if that's all right.
Okay.
And complication range of 20.
Yep. Well, that's a complication. Do you have a way to reroll that?
Do you?
Took cautious silence instead of science instead of cautious medicine. So, no.
Dun,
Okay.
dun, dun.
So, by my reckoning, you would have what? 2 momentum? 3 momentum? I think it's.
We're actually up to. We had 3. I spent 1, so it was difficulty 1. We're back to 3.
So you're back at 3. Okay. Just want to make sure I had that right. So, Matan, you are able to treat the individuals. However, remember that joke, or perhaps not really a joke, you made about needing certain medical supplies and how that maybe if you had certain supplies instead of others, you could affect a change. Let's say one of the crewmen is in dire need of norethrazine, I believe is what you made the joke of.
I guess can you or one of your instances or something? I need to get this man to sick bay immediately.
I do not have access to my instances, but if you put my secondary mobile emitter, I will be able to take over the con while being able to help you escort the gentleman to medbay.
He looks over at the lieutenant commander who has the mobile emitter.
Yep. Well, of course.
Effectively, ELH, I'm going to use the mobile emitter as like a secondary instance just to keep con working while I move the damaged crew member who, Frank, I do not know, but would know in character.
Just an ensign.
Ensign. I'm also logging a complaint for the staff who managed your medical supplies. I believe this would be grounds of investigation, at least.
We can worry about that later. Right now, I just want to get this man to sick bay. He's in desperate need of norethrazine. Unfortunately, we have none in stock.
Of course.
I'll need to synthesize something from the chemicals that we do have on board and the medical replicators.
A stretcher is over here.
Okay. And
As I'll pull out, I folded a stretcher from one of the from where you got the medical kit.
he'll grab 1 or 2 items out of the medical kit that he needs, and then almost like without thinking, shove the medical kit into Cato's hands and say, "If you'd attend to them, please." And he's just off.
Well,
Good luck, Lieutenant Commander. As I will help the injured person to bed bay.
Thank you. I think. Well, Ensign, let's attend to that, I suppose. While I'm doing that, Aegis, can you get me a full sensor sweep of the area, please? I want to know how we got here. I want to know why we're here, and I want to know what's around us.
So the instance at the com is a lot more delayed and a lot less emotive. It will go affirmative, a lot more sounding like the ship's computer rather than Aegis's voice.
Okay.
Okay.
So, I guess if you can give me a reason science, and the ship will assist you with a sensor science as well. Okay. So you're doing reason science, ship is doing sensor science. Difficulty of 1 on this one as well.
Okay. I don't think I have a focus out of my many focuses.
Let me take a look.
Unless,
Actually, I
oh,
would allow you to
oh,
use strategy here, and the reason I'll
okay then.
explain if you succeed.
Okay, cool then. One success, and the computer gives us a complication. Wonderful.
Wonderful. You know what? I'm just
Going
going
to
to
be
bank
that
threat
kind
for
of
that
game, folks.
I am
complication.
having a wonderful time, chat. Ah,
I'm actually just going to bank threat for that complication.
oh
So,
no.
what you realize, I guess, is you are in, obviously, an asteroid field in the Delta Quadrant, but you're also detecting the remnants of what could have been a probe, a very small ship, something that would be recognizable as debris, not part of the asteroid field. However, it does not match any known configuration or metallurgical analysis that is in Starfleet's database, at least the database you have access to.
I have detected an unknown debris of either a probe or shuttlecraft. It is located here. However, my database has nothing on its origin.
I think while the scans were all going on, Cato had finished his administrations with the med kit and he'd taken the center chair. Um, doesn't match anything.
It has not matched anything in my database. However, my database is limited due to to my main processors being upon the Amaterasu.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. so, hmm. Can you do a more detailed scan of it? Do you know how old the debris is?
ELH, do I know how old the debris is by spending momentum?
By spending momentum to ask that question, bringing you down to 2, yes, you actually are able to tell that the debris is hours old, perhaps closer to like 30 minutes old. It's very, very fresh.
Is it does it have any temporal effects?
No,
As in,
no chronotons,
okay,
no
because I was a bit concerned
tachyons.
that we were about to blow up and be in a time loop.
Don't
Not my
give him
first rodeo.
ideas.
Well, it's funny you say
Um,
that because I'm
Oh, there it
actually
is.
going to say that as soon as Matan arrives in sickbay with your other instance, I guess, and you get the drastically injured crewman onto the remaining biobed, there's another lurch, and again, we have excessive bubble wrap as a trait, so you're not injured. Again, beautiful way to explain a trait. I just want to point that out. But you lurch, and on the bridge, you see that you are back in the Alpha Quadrant where you're supposed to be.
Error. Start data depicts us back to where we were before the first lurch. We have traveled many more light years that our ship is capable of. Even traveling at QSD, we should not be able to travel this distance in this time.
Now, real question for Igus: does both her instances say that, or just the one on the bridge?
Yes,
Okay.
because she's not on the main ship, she doesn't know how to divide the instances because she doesn't have the. So unless she's properly thinking about it, both of them will say stuff at the same time.
So Matan, as he is tending to the patient in sickbay,
Mm-hmm.
is almost like pulling out this mass of different chemicals and hyposprays and beginning to synthesize something using the combination of a few of them. And he takes just a minute to slap his comm badge and say up to the bridge, "Captain, I suppose." And he's almost like half distracted going through this process. This might have something to do with spatial folding, or a micro wormhole of some kind. You might want to investigate those possibilities. I would do so myself, but I'm a little bit occupied at the moment.
Uh, thank you, Doctor. I can certainly sense that from here. Um, and I'm also sensing a general sort of anxiety over the crew as well as to the situation. Um, yes, get our ensign back on his feet, and yes, we'll look into that up here. Thank you.
Spatial folding, coaxial warp drive, or micro wormhole. That would be by supposition. Sick layout.
Duly noted. We will check into all of the above. And he sort of motions towards Aegis on that.
I will double check that the replicators will be able to provide the correct dosages for you, Doctor.
It's rather difficult to synthesize, but yes, well, maybe this new ship actually is capable of doing it. Thank you, I guess.
Well, since you said it was difficult.
Engineering?
Yep, I guess you're doing a daring engineering.
Gosh darn it.
Matan, you can assist with a daring medicine, or vice versa, to deciding who
Can
takes the
I
main role.
assist myself by having the ship's computers go through the
I will say you get one source of an assist. You can either have Matan help you, or you can have the ship help
Oh,
you.
yeah, I will love myself to assist because assisting myself, especially if I'm using the ship's computers. Yeah.
I'll allow it. Mm-hmm.
Yay. When attempting a task assisted by the ship's computers or communications, you do not roll the dice. Instead, you count it as rolling a one.
Remind me, that is
Is
which.
my con officer.
Let's put it in chat so people at home can see it. Oh yeah, yeah. The comms officer actually has a really good.
So effectively, I'm going to go through all of the equations needed to synthesize this ingredient from a computer standpoint, and then actually try to render the repairs. How many do I need to succeed?
You need 4 successes, so you already have
Four
2 from the
successes.
ship, but you need 2 more.
As I feel like that the crew member's life is in danger and he needs this drug, I'm going to use my value, part of the ship, part of the crew. Oh, sorry, part of the crew, part of the ship, because he is part of the part of the ship because he's part of my crew.
Right.
And when I roll with determination value, do I add the extra dice onto the dice pool or do I just roll two?
You just rolled a 2. Just make sure that you check using determination value.
Hmm. And am I able to blag computers?
Yeah, you definitely would.
Cool.
Okay, so
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's the
that's
4 you
correct.
need. So what that's going to look like is, I guess, you consult yourself and you configure the replicator in sickbay, and sure enough, Matan, I guess, is actually able to replicate Nereprosine.
So the way that looks like is I go to the wall and go, Igus, please replicate the nefzine, these quantities. Affirmative, Igus. I shall perform the task as needed. And it's just like continuously like how a crew member would instruct a computer to go through the process, but I'm also talking to myself. And after a while, I just go, your needed amount of cetirizine. I've also replicated 2 additional doses in case they are needed.
Oh, he blinks just, and he seems sort of stupefied by that. Thank you, I guess. And he just
You're welcome.
plucks that little hypospray for. It is her, right? Or
Yes, her
okay,
or they, either one will do.
from her hand, and then injects the patient and begins trying to stabilize him.
All right.
I ensure that the answers at Space Dock were to ensure that my replicators work and no pranks were installed. In fact, I pranked them when they tried to install pranks.
That's excellent forethought.
Hmm. I just seem to glare at a memory, so I'm just glaring at the wall.
And Matan just like glances at the wall, cocks his head.
I'm sorry, I was remembering something, and the ensign was standing there when I informed him of his actions.
Oh, a little distracting.
I
Perhaps you should
apologize.
return to the bridge. They probably need you there.
Affirmative. I
Thank
am
you,
at
I
the
guess.
bridge. I haven't left the room.
I mean both of your instances.
That would increase my processing power, as I will put the mobile emitter. I will stand awkwardly and deactivate mobile emitter so it's still in med bay.
All right.
So
But lands
Kato,
rare.
you heard
Just drops
one
sort of.
side of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both incidents are back on the bridge, Captain.
Wonderful. Does this mean I'm going to be able to have a conversation with you without hearing the other side of a conversation with someone else?
Yes, I do apologize about that. When I'm in the Amaterasu, I will be able to keep my incidents separated. This is why I'm not normally able to do it in this vessel.
No, no, no. It's fine. It's just very unusual to have my con officer talking to themselves. Um, uh, so just to reiterate, the last command I gave you was to scan for the to do a detailed scan of the debris. I believe you
Yes,
said it was somewhere in the region of an hour to half an hour old.
correct. Is it still with us, ELH?
Nope, you're back in the Alpha Quadrant. There's no debris around you. There's no asteroids. You're just kind of in the middle of space.
The debris is no longer with us. It is seemed to have left us in the Delta Quadrant. We're now back in the Alpha Quadrant. I do not understand the spatial anomaly.
Um, Aegis, I don't know if this will come across as offensive, but apologies if it does. I've only got your word for the sensor readings. Can you run a diagnostic on yourself?
Affirmative. I can run a diagnostic on myself. Would you like a crew member to assist me? So I am, if I am experiencing corruption, that it is not affecting the results.
Yes, please. That would be great.
Affirmative. I shall proceed and pursue the diagnostic now.
Great. If you could send the results to my console here, and in the meantime, and it sort of comes down to engineering. This is the bridge to engineering.
Ensign Bob here, sir.
Ensign Bob, hello. Can you give me an update on the status of the warp drive, please? Have we suffered any damage from the lurch that we had recently?
I mean, there's a few EPS conduits that I wouldn't stress too much, and there's microfractures in the hull, but we seem to be okay. And right as he says that, there's another lurch. You're back in the Delta Quadrant in the asteroid field with the debris nearby.
And I take it that wasn't you trying to restart the warp core, Ensign.
No, but now I'm detecting significantly more microfractures.
I have done the diagnostic as requested. I do not seem to be experiencing corruption. I shall put the report and the current sensor readings if you wish to confirm the stellar cartography.
Yes, please, if you would.
I do so.
And he just checks it over just to make sure there's nothing untoward going on there, and then says, "Right, so we appear to be jumping from the Delta Quadrant to the Alpha Quadrant, vice versa, and back again.
Correct.
And the only thing we can detect outside is some debris.
Correct.
There's no, as the doctor suggested, there's no signs of tachyons or chronotons or increased particle densities or energy emissions that might suggest some reasoning behind this.
Tachyons was my first guess, but I will proceed to see if there's any other particles of those things. And also, I shall see if the structure is similar to the caretaker's molecular structure to see if it's the same technology.
Please.
I shall perform that, ELH.
Yeah, it's always those tachyons, the most suspicious of subatomic particles. All right, I guess if you could give me an insight and science or an insight con, I'll give you either. This is going to be a difficulty of 3.
Okay. Am I able to get an assist from someone?
No, I think this is just you rolling flat.
Is the ship assisting me? Am I assisting myself again?
No assisting yourself on this one.
Darn.
But you did just get a momentum from chat, so you're up to 3.
I will spend that momentum immediately. Thank you, chat. I don't think I have a focus in this.
Okay.
If it's difficulty 4, was it?
3.
3. Okay. You might want to spend all 3 momentum then to get 2 extra dice.
Yeah, because even if I roll well, we'll just get the momentum back. You're right there, and I don't have a focus in this. All right. One quick check to see if... Nope. All right. 3 successes.
All right, you get the 3 you need.
Nice.
So it, again, not chronotons, not tachyons, not a micro wormhole, not related to the caretaker, not a fracture in subspace, all of the usual checklist things that you're going through to be like, how did we move from point A to point B? Nothing. You are quite literally getting goose eggs on everything you check.
We are currently not experiencing any normal known phenomena in my database.
Right. And okay. Can we take
If we are to try anything, may I suggest doing it in the Alpha Quadrant, since if we were to break this loop that we are in inside the Delta Quadrant, we would not be in a fit state to return back to the Alpha Quadrant.
It's a fair point, thank you. But I think the only thing we've got to go on at the moment is this debris and the asteroid field that we're in. Can we, as it's so recent? This is me out of character. As it's so recent, can I do like a telepathic sort of? Can I Counselor Troy my way out of this and look for like emotions and any
Any
life signs that might be around us, either in
psionic,
escape pods or on board the debris,
Yeah.
psionic ghosts, echoes, that
or
sort of thing.
yeah, or like a giant, malevolent, omnipotent entity,
Who may or may
sort of
not
dealio.
be with pigtails. If you could give me a, let's call this an insight and command, and difficulty of 0 on this one.
Not that the omnipotent entity was me, but
No, mischievous, not malevolent. Yeah. Okay. So for this, so I have a talent of telepathy. I'm just wondering what that actually does. I'll just chuck it in the chat quickly.
Yeah, I think it's just enabling you to do it.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure. So insight and command. What's the difficulty? 0. We've got no momentum. So, and bizarrely, I don't have anything focus related on this. So I'm just going to roll straight.
All right,
Huzzah.
2 successes, 2 momentum. So again, no malevolent life forms, no random emotional ghosts, no higher order beings sensing. You're pretty sure Delancey Q is nowhere on the ship. So you're getting a big nothing once again.
I'm not getting like echoes of like trauma or fear or anything like that. I'm really getting nothing from the Counselor Troy channel.
Nothing from the Counselor Troy channel. It's almost like the
Righto.
Troy channel got canceled.
I am going to make a communication ping around the area
Okay.
to see if there's anything similar but electronic to what Techno was doing.
The
Trying
moment
to
you
just-
send out that ping, another lurch, you're back in the Alpha Quadrant. And before we continue, we're going to go back to sickbay. Because, Matan, you might have the drugs that you need, but every time the ship lurches, you have to either stabilize yourself or the patient in the sickbay.
Matanda Bridge, I don't know if you can possibly put a stop to that. I'm dealing with a very delicate situation down here.
I apologize. My flying is stationary.
Yeah, as I just has intimated, I'm afraid that we're somewhat at the whim of whatever this is for the moment. We'll try and.
Have you noticed any commonalities as to what you're doing when these transitions occur?
I have experienced one commonality.
Well, whatever that is, please don't do that again. Sick bay out.
Affirmative.
So I'm actually going to spend 2 threat here to create the trait to give Matthew a little bit of grief here. The trait is going to be blood loss. Now, it's not major, but it is still blood loss in your patient. And what I'm going to say is that this will increase the difficulty of treating your patient. So it was initially a difficulty of 2, and until you manage to get rid of the blood loss trait, it will increase the difficulty to a 3 on all medicine checks on the patient.
Okay. Can I deal with the most severe issue, foregoing consideration of the blood loss? So the reason why he's being injected by this with this compound is to treat presumably some sort of like head trauma or neurological issue because of neurons discharging unnaturally as a result of the energy field that washed over him because of the console's malfunction. So what I'd like to do is treat that, and then I'll deal with the blood loss.
Okay. Definitely a daring medicine here. At a difficulty of 3. I don't think you have a focus that applies, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so. What I am going to do is spend my determination on this.
Okay.
So I will do the prime directive of medicine is to serve life.
Okay.
And under these rules, then I'd have to give you 2 momentum to roll
3
three
dice.
dice, one of which is set to a 1.
Correct.
Then, if that's all right with everyone, that's what I'm going to do.
Sure. Yeah.
And that should not be a focus use.
So that 18 should be a 1. Remember when you're rolling to check the using determination value?
I thought that I did.
Huh. Hit it again just to make sure that it is working.
Okay, 3 dice, and that was what it was. I clicked on the focus instead of the button for value
Okay.
use.
Well, the good news is that both rolls are 3 successes, so I'm going to give it to you. And yeah, you are able to treat the major concussion and brain trauma that your patient is suffering from, but you still have the blood loss to deal with as well.
Okay. Well, now that the patient is out of immediate danger, he'll move on to try to cauterize, I suppose, the internal bleeding using his, I want to say medical phaser as a callback, but no, he's not using a medical phaser. He is using
Medical batleth.
his medical. Oh yeah, his just his
Taking from a
medical
Klingon.
laser. Yeah.
Okay. So as you are suturing the wound, you have 2 options here. You can either attempt a difficulty of 2. It was a difficulty of 1. The trait increases it to a 2. You can either give me a difficulty 2 test, another daring medicine, or if you had momentum, you could have given me 2 momentum to get rid of the trait, but you also have the option of giving me 2 threat to get rid of the trait, if you so wish.
I feel like I'm going to try the task, another daring medicine, and I'll give you 1 threat to roll 3 dice.
Okay?
So,
You have emergency medicine?
no, I do not.
What?
So this is acting in a fashion that is somewhat cavalier. He normally functions best with plans, procedures, and protocols in place, but now he's just more or less winging it, foregoing some of the sort of the complicating factors involved in performing this surgery by the book, and that's why it's adding that threat.
Okay. I like it.
And 3.
Nice.
4 successes.
Let's
You
go.
get 2 momentum back for your trouble. Well done. So, you are able to get rid of the blood loss. You are able to suture the wound. You are able to return the blood flow to where it should via an IV. Your patient is stabilized.
And he'll just come up to the bridge to inform them of that.
I am glad that the ensign is well, Doctor. Do you require to stay with them to perform medical observation?
He grimaces slightly, although he can't be seen. He should be stable. If we could get another ensign down here just to keep an eye on his vitals, I would appreciate that. I'd like to assist on the bridge if I can.
Ensign Tawal to medbay.
Understood. I will be there immediately.
And so when the ensign arrives...
I apologize, Captain. The doctor required me to make a call out as the ship's computer.
No, I understand completely. Let's. I think at some point we're going to have a little chat about the chain of command. But I
apologize. My hardline coding does cause me to breach that sometimes.
Not ideal. Let's bookmark that for now. And focus on the immediate problem, because I'm not going to come down on you too hard for taking the initiative. Right.
Captain Cato, I was able to have one correlation between the last jump and now. When I
Yes,
did
you did mention that. Yeah. What have you got?
when I tried to do a communication ping, which I am refusing to let any communication out of the ship unless you decide otherwise, since that might be the root cause, we experienced the jump.
Well, it's funny you
You're
say
suggest
that because there's going to be a complication from chat. I guess the ship is receiving a subspace communication.
We are receiving a subspace communication. Do you wish for me to open it?
And Kato just sort of sits in the chair, sort of stroking his face. And then he sort of taps his comm badge. Bridge to engineering.
Bob here.
We're going to try something, and it might result in another one of these lurches. Can you? I believe the human expression is batten down the hatches. Try
Well,
and
we
keep
have a
damage to a minimum.
cornucopia of bubble wrap. I'll wrap the warp core.
Anything you can do would be appreciated.
Some of my
Understood.
parts' integrity have been reduced by a percentage. Please do not remove too much of the bubble wrap from the core components.
All right, I guess. All right, I'll make do.
These boxes I have highlighted are tertiary components which won't require the bubble wrap.
This time you don't have boxes just for the bubble wrap.
No, I have replacement parts which can be replicated later on.
Right. And so, Bob, if you can focus on the highlighted boxes and sorry, just use your discretion for anything else that that looks like we can probably replicate it back at the
Do not touch the red box.
and avoid the red box if you please. But otherwise, use your discretion.
But sir, it's a red box. I want to open it.
Force field enacted around the red box.
I'm merely joking,
yeah.
sir. I will avoid the red box.
Yeah. Just for the sake of it, I'm going to make that an order as well on the red box opening.
Aye, sir. Understood.
Yes, but I appreciate the curiosity. Keep it up, Ensign. And then he sort of closes the channel and turns to Aegis. Let's accept that communication.
Affirmative. Con online.
All right. So appearing on the view screen is a very strange alien. And what I mean by that is I'd like you to imagine a hermit crab mixed with a horseshoe crab. So you kind of have like a shelled crustacean, but it's definitely more aquatic, almost like a mirelurk would be in Fallout. It's got a lot of shell, it's got a lot of chittering legs and mandibles, and it just looks really weird unless you're used to marine biology. But it's speaking in a language that the universal translator is having some issues with. It hasn't been able to find a commonality quite yet.
Aegis, is there anything you can do to clear up that channel or to?
I am currently trying to process it. It is an alien language that I have not encountered before. Please stand by.
Thank you.
And I guess, and I'm actually going to open this up to any of you three because I believe one of you actually has a focus of linguistics.
Me!
No, I think Cato has it as well.
Yep.
Oh,
So maybe
well,
you're working
I will
together.
assist you as the ship's computer.
There you go. So this is going to be an insight and con, and
Con?
linguistics definitely is a focus here.
Wonderful.
The difficulty on this is a 4.
Sadly, when I'm assisting you, I can't cheat the system and roll a 1. I apologize.
But you know what? Let's make
okay.
things interesting. I'm going to spend 3 threat,
Oh,
Do we
no.
like interest? I mean,
No.
and I'd like you
Deny.
both to set the complication range to a 17 when you make the roll.
Why? Why you do this to us?
Because
So
I got
17 using
The
focus.
crime.
I've got 2 momentum sitting there. I'm going to use. Hang on, one moment. Oh no, ignore that. I didn't mean to roll that.
Oh,
well,
no, ignore that.
we
I didn't
still
mean to
got
roll
a
that.
complication for
Damn it.
Micus.
Ensign Bob, please stop touching the red box.
I'm not anywhere near it.
Who's touching the red box then?
No one.
Okay,
Huh.
well, I guess that's part of my role then. Because what I was going to look at was the cautious command just to make sure there was nothing I could do there, but there isn't. So I guess that's my role. I was going to use momentum as well. Are you okay if I just roll
I'll let you do
one
it,
more
sure.
die? Thank you.
Okay, so you're at 2
Yay.
successes.
Take the 2 successes.
Unfortunately, it was a difficulty of 4.
Yeah,
So
yeah. So not great.
this is a failure with 2 complications.
I'm just before we jump in that, I'm going to do this before I forget. I have a talent of backup plans, which means when I fail a task, I can add 1 point to the group's momentum pool.
Okay, so you will be at 3. I'm actually looking at your things here. You know what you could do is you haven't used your determination. You could re-roll at least your pool.
That's true. That's true. Um,
I at least take one complication off the board. I
Well,
say
we
that.
hope.
Yes, I say that.
yeah, yeah. Can I use my determination to reroll them, please?
Sure, just tell me what value.
Ooh, yeah. I guess no secrets hidden would
Sure.
be the value that most likely to work in this instance. Um, so yeah, I'm going to use that and re-roll everything then.
Okay.
It keeps the same complication range, doesn't it?
Keep 17. Yep.
And it was 3 dice that I'm rolling. I had a focus.
I wouldn't re-roll the one on which you've already got a success. So I guess should just roll
Can
two
I pick and
dice.
choose? Sorry, can I pick and
Yeah, you
choose?
can pick
Or
and choose.
in that case, yeah, brilliant. I'll just roll the one that I messed up on then. Thank you, Matt.
You're welcome.
Yeah, here we go.
So I think you're at 4 because what I'm seeing is because you rolled a 4 in your third die, and that was
Uh-huh.
supposed to be a crit because your con is 4. So that
Yep.
was 2, and then you have the 8 from the first roll, and then you just re-rolled the 17 to an 11, which is your 4th success here. So now it's a success with a complication.
So
I'll
I
take
would
it.
like to
Yeah.
say that when the complication from my end happens, like my head twitches violently and I shake it. From whatever else ELH has plans, I just want that aesthetic thing to also be there.
No, you're good
Well,
because actually, what I'm going to do is create a new trait in the scene that is overwhelmed universal translator. And what that's going to mean is that until someone resolves the universal translator problem, um, might be a bit difficult to communicate anything too complex to one another because everybody on the ship's relying on a universal translator right now. So very
wonderful.
simple concepts. But the good news is you did succeed. So, what that means is you get a message, and the message says, "My name is Captain Talislin, and this is going to sound extremely strange, but I believe that my ship has become entangled with yours. We seem to be switching rapidly between locations. I have left this buoy in your space in the hopes that you may be able to find a solution to this before we swap places again." And then the message repeats.
Right.
Universal
So,
Translator processor at 213%. Error, error, error.
Aegis, are you okay?
All of my other systems are fine. My Universal Translator is overtaxed.
Okay, understood.
Luckily, I am able to translate to your native tongue when speaking to you. However, I'm only able to translate to one language per person.
Right. Okay. Um, Cat, are you able to send a message to Ensign Bob in engineering
I
to
can
get
send a
him to?
text message, however, it will take a minute.
Sure, if you could get on that, please. Dedicate some processor time to that. Can you also? And in fact, actually, Kato's then going to sort of turn to his own little console. He's going to look up some information on things like quantum entanglement and uh, displacement
The
of
standard
ships between.
Starfleet language in the ship is English, which you are not human. So unless you, I know you're a linguist, so you might actually know English.
Hmm.
The Hellspawn language.
But no,
Yeah,
Matan,
so
you will have arrived on the bridge at this point, so you would have heard that message on the view screen.
All right. Matan will sort of slip into the I guess the console that's dedicated to science functions. And as he kind of in passing notices that Kato is examining quantum entanglement and trying to ascertain possible explanations for this, he'll ask, sitting down, would you like me to scan the buoy, Captain? Perhaps we can ascertain something about the reasons why our two vessels have been yoked together?
How much of that is
so
actually
I was
translated
going to
from
say, so
Cardassian?
important question. How much of that do I get? Yeah.
You get scan buoy question mark.
Switching over to Cardassian, I do apologize, Doctor. My universal translator is currently experiencing 223% overcapacity. It is having trouble translating multiple languages.
I'm spending 2 threat to say that instead of hearing that from Igus, Igus says, Shaka, when the walls fell.
What? Uh, uh, what?
Um,
I apologize. I tried to change language. I tried to set down to language.
And I assume I just hear like something like Darmok and Jalad at
Ishkad,
Tanagra.
Yeah,
Tanagra.
Darmok
Jotka.
and Jalad at Tanagra. Mm-hmm.
Shaka when the walls fell.
Shaka when the
I
walls fell.
tried to
Mm-hmm.
make connection, but I failed. Okay. He's just going to turn around and then make the scan, regardless of what these other people are
I was
saying
going to
to
say,
him.
Kato is going to just sort of try and get Matan's attention, and he's just going to give a well, to a human it would be a nod, but he's obviously well studied in different cultures, so he would give the affirmative action towards Matan that a Cardassian would understand, be that a head nod or a thumbs up or whatever that may be.
Yeah, body language and physical gestures oftentimes seem to be quite similar across most races. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
it's our shared genetic heritage, but yeah, he'll recognize that nod and then conduct the scan.
All
And
right.
basically, what I'd like to know is there something about the buoy in terms of like the resonance frequency of its subatomic particles or some kind of exposure to an energy field that matches or correlates with something that I can detect on our ship?
Yeah, certainly. So if you want to give me a reason and science, your best stat. Reason science and difficulty on this one. Difficulty of 4. And you get one source of an assist, whether it's Igus, whether it's the ship itself, or whether it is Kato helping you.
Did we do something to upset you, ELH? Because we're sorry.
No, I just am trying to provide drama.
While that's doing that, if they're not requiring assists from me, I am trying to fix my own universal translator.
Ah, yes, Doctor, heal thyself.
Mm.
Well, is there anything I can do to assist with that as well? On the basis of linguistics being a focus of mine, perhaps I could.
I will say that your focus of linguistics actually allows you to talk to Matan in native Cardassian. Though it's
Oh,
weird,
wonderful.
it's like when you go to like, I don't know, to like Germany or France or Norway, like you're speaking Cardassian, but it's got a very bad accent. Like,
Wonderful. Yeah.
and this is going to be funny for Matthew, but his Cardassian is Quebecois.
Okay, so it's basically the. No, I can't say that.
I can't say that we're being horribly
No,
cancelled.
I live and work in Quebec, so I can't let that get out to anyone. But all right. So, what I will do is following those orders, giving him just like a bit of a raised eyebrow and scratching at his forehead, right at his hairline size, and then he's going to turn back to the console to make that scan, conduct that scan,
All right.
and I'll give you, if everyone's okay with it, 3 momentum to
Mm-hmm.
roll
Mhm.
4 dice.
I feel like fixing that is more important than my universal translator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah,
Would subspace dynamics count as a focus here?
It definitely would.
And who's assisting you? Is the ship assisting you?
Could be Kato,
I'll
could be the ship. Up to you all.
What would the role be if it was me?
If it was you, it'd be also reason science.
Oh, absolutely not me then. No,
Okay.
let's have the ship
I could
assist.
personally give you a reason science.
Could I make an argument
Mm-hmm.
for more or less reason con or presence con in the sense that he is translating for me and kind of liaising with other people,
I like
negotiating back
that.
and forth?
Yeah, so Kato, if you want to give me a presence and
Okay.
command instead, I'll even give you command. You can assist with that.
Yeah, I'll take that. That works for me.
And you would even
Thank
have the
you. Good
focus of
shout.
linguistics.
Perfect.
Well, there's already
Woo!
five
Oh,
successes.
so watch the complication.
No, that is
No.
not. That is
No,
a crit
best roll.
success. So that is
Ooh.
7 successes, meaning you're back up to 3 momentum. So, what you discover, Matan, is that the buoy does have a quantum resonance signature that matches your vessel. Which means if you change the resonance signature of your vessel by tweaking the warp core, by generating a subspace field, there's a lot of things you can do to change your resonance signature. If you change it, that should break the connection.
Well, Captain, I must say, despite your accent, your Cardassian is impeccable, and the fact that you're able to switch between it and whatever else you've been speaking is most impressive. I've found that our resonance sequence signature matches that of the buoy. If we can change the quantum resonance signature of our vessel on a subatomic level, we'll break the tether.
Uh, I see. Okay. Can we do that without affecting us in some other way, like accidentally ejecting us from our own universe or something like that? I'm not very up on the science
Well,
of this, but
a temporary static warp shell that alters our quantum signature should, well, sever the tie between us, and then we can just shut it off. The cord will have been cut. Uh, the necessary modifications to affect that would be outside of my area of expertise.
let's see. Um, Possibly outside of my own. Aegis, he switches back to whatever language that
Aegis
he and
just
Aegis
turns
were
and
speaking
faces
about.
you and gives you a nod.
Is that a nod that we can do that, or a nod that you understand me?
I give you two nods.
Okay,
I type on your console, language hard.
language indeed hard. Um,
Sarcasm
that wasn't
detected.
that wasn't sarcasm. I am fluent in a number of languages. They're equally difficult. That's neither here nor there. Aegis, if you can do the thing with this, can you create it? What was it? And she switches back to Matan and into Cardassian. Was it an inverted static warp shell? Did you say?
A static warp shell would be one means of affecting it. However, if Igus or our
Well,
Bob, who's
Ensign
not really a
Bob.
chief
Yeah.
engineer, but if either of them have a suggestion, yes, there are other ways of doing it. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And he turns back to Aegis and goes, right, a static warp. Let's try that first. A static warp shell sounds like as good a place to start as any. Would you be able to set that up, Aegis?
I put my thumbs up and changed the color of my nail varnish to green.
Wonderful. Make it happen.
Well
Green,
then,
the Cardassian color of illness and disaster.
No, 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 no,
Oh
doctor.
no.
It's fine. That was an affirmative
Why would you choose
indication.
green for that?
Uh, Probably because for other species or certain species, green is actually an affirmative color
as you
rather
both get a
than.
message, please stop speaking. I'm trying to process all conversations.
Uh, Aegis, you can cut us out of the UT loop. That's fine. We can handle our own conversation
I
until
wish
the.
I could. Something is broke.
Wonderful. Okay. Apologies. We'll keep it to a minimum, Doctor. It's not an issue.
So, one thing I'm going to say here is that this is something where you might want to use reserve power here, Bean. Now, you might be
Ooh,
wondering, ELH, what is
what is
reserve
that?
power? Reserve power is now basically for every ship, whether it's a full ship, a shuttle, a runabout, the Aquarius class. Every ship has one reserve power that's basically ship determination. Where if you
Hmm.
want to create this warp bubble, this static warp shell, you could conceivably spend the reserve power of the Yatagarasu and start with a automatic 2 successes from the ship. But
I
that
will
would
do
use your
that.
reserve power, and some things require reserve power to work.
Considering the situation and my brain hurts and I want simple things right now, I'm going to use the reserve power.
Okay, so you will start with 2 successes. The
Okay,
difficulty on this is a 5, though.
I am going to cry a little.
Well,
Um,
crying is a free action.
yeah, crying is reaction. Excellent. I'm going to
Yeah.
spend three momentum and give you three threat. So I feel like this
Okay,
should.
so you're rolling 5 dice. Okay.
Yeah. What was the stats again? Sorry.
For you, it is a daring and engineering.
Um,
I'd like to ask if there's any way we can assist, but my engineering is awful.
Then I've got a 1.
I mean, I believe.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I can't think of any of my focuses unless computers where I basically run the numbers in my head.
Nah, I don't think you've got to focus here, unfortunately.
Nah, I don't think I got focused. That was a long stretch. Anyway,
Hmm.
roll.
There
We
you
pass
go.
anyway.
You actually get a grand total of 6 successes, so you actually get a momentum back for your trouble. And yeah,
Good job.
what happens is basically we see just a shimmer of a field around the Yatagarasu, and there's another lurch, but it's not as severe. But you don't transition back to the Delta Quadrant. You remain where you're supposed to be.
Okay. Wonderful job, Aegis. Hmm. Can I get and he switches back to Matan. Can I get a sensor scan, please, of the area? Let's make sure there's no unexpected ships here. There's no instabilities or subspace rifts or so on and so forth.
Of course, Captain. I'd be happy to investigate. And he'll just take a quick sensor scan of the surrounding area for any other subspace distortions or quantum entanglements.
Okay. So what you actually find is that that lurch, it didn't throw you back to the Delta Quadrant, but it did deposit another buoy, surprisingly. And the buoy sends you a message. And again, it's that same, what is it, crustacean? Crustacean is the word I want. It's Captain Tilislin again. And Tislin says, whatever you did severed our connection. Thank you. I must apologize for the inconvenience. Our ships work on the principle of quantum entanglement to travel between 2 locations very quickly. When our test buoy was destroyed, we inadvertently became entangled with you, and obviously you were privy to us bouncing back and forth. I do not recognize the area of space that you are from, but if you are ever in our local area, please visit the Cranidid homeworld. We would be happy to get to know you better.
Curious.
Hmm. I regret that we
Universal
didn't.
translator offline.
Well, I'm still going to speak in Cardassian. You at least can understand me, Lieutenant Commander.
Yes, indeed.
I think that I got the gist of that, even though it was only partially comprehensible.
Hmm.
I only wish that we had the foresight or forethought to do the same and extend our greetings in this first contact to our now distant friends.
I pull out a data pad and go just type very slowly, like I don't remember how to write. Just
Mm-hmm.
turn request permission to reboot.
Uh, Permission granted.
I will
Uh,
then.
Wait, actually, 1 second.
Glare a bit.
How? Apologies, Aegis. How is that going to affect the ship if you reboot?
Standard Starfleet computer.
Great. Okay. Yep. Reboot.
As I reboot, the sound of the standardized LCARs come on.
It's like a Windows startup noise or
Yeah,
something.
Windows startup noise.
Mm-hmm.
As my hologram will still be on, but the entire like
At least
the
she
computer system.
T-poses.
Yeah. Well, no, because the entirety of the ship just goes for a reboot and just loads up the standard Alcar system as the hologram will just look confused.
You okay there, Aegis?
Oh, I'm have my core personality again. That's
Wonderful.
weird.
Good. That's
Hello.
good. Hello.
Um, that was not meant to be happening until 2 weeks when we were going to do the test on my long range capabilities in away
Hmm.
missions.
Is this going to adversely affect you or your integration into the
I certainly
Amaterasu?
hope not. Oh, hello again. I am meeting you for the first time. It seems that my AI counterpart has been put offline for some reason. Something about just stop having them speak. It's hurting my head.
Yes, we were having some troubles with the universal translator. Have they been resolved?
I believe with a reboot they are going to be resolved. However, that's probably going to take an hour.
Well, good to know. Okay. Right.
Also,
Can
she's left another note of "Don't touch the red box."
Yes, we're very aware of the red box. Can you enlighten us as to what the red box is?
Oh, that's one of her central core emotional processes, which is separate from my central core messenger systems, and it's very sensitive.
Right.
Forgive me if for interjecting here, but what exactly is you refer to her as her and not you?
Yes,
Can you elaborate on the nature of the relationship between the two of you? Because I'm slightly baffled.
I'm the core central progress process of the original program.
I see.
She was a subroutine?
So I am a hologram.
Mm-hmm.
And she is a AI construct which is built on top of my holographic matrix.
Right.
So the core idea that a computer run a ship has been tried many times in Starfleet to lesser, less, less
Less than
pleasant.
ideal
Yes.
circumstances. Yes,
The
I
the
remember
idea
some
was
of
to
our
use
history lessons.
a synthetic life form or myself as a basis for it. I was raised in the upbringing program, the a idea of having holograms raised as organics were. So I lived a childhood in a sense.
I
And
see.
I guess that you have been speaking to is currently using my experiences.
Ah, so they hope to avoid some sort of nomad situation.
Hmm.
I guess humans can learn something after all. Hmm.
I She's currently using my experiences as Starfleet officer to run her ethical subroutines, unlike the many other attempts of, copying lore, data, and Moriarty, which seems to be the Daystream's Institute go-to until my creators decided that was a silly idea.
Oh, quite. Um,
And don't worry, I don't have any of those people in my programming. I
To be
believe
fair,
my
though,
creator said they are banned.
they are bad. Okay, good to know. I mean, I know obviously we have a large data warehouse of unstable AIs at the Daystrom
Yeah, I
Institute.
am. Don't worry, I spent an entire ethics course on those multiple occurrences. And when I mean ethic courses, an ethic courses for a hologram meant that I could run it 24/7. It was a 2 month long process.
Hmm. To be fair to those prior instances of artificial intelligence, as I understand it from my Starfleet history, Dr. Moriarty was a Machiavellian genius.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I mean, I studied his strategic brilliance multiple times.
Hmm.
That was probably the only interesting thing about the entirety of the lab experience.
Fair enough, I suppose. Thank you for elaborating.
Hmm.
Do I still call you Igus?
Yes.
Interesting.
Well,
Also, I
to
do apologize. The universal translator is still offline, so most of the crew are having trouble communicating.
yes. In fact, actually, let's address that right now. And Kato's going to like press the button, and there's the all hands tone,
Mm-hmm.
the bosun's whistle, and he's going to say in several languages something along the lines of something along the lines of attention all crew. This is Lieutenant Commander Kato. We're having some troubles with the universal translators. Um, if you are in any way in need of medical assistance, please make your way to the sick bay. Otherwise, please continue your duties as best you can, um, and report to the bridge if there's um, any critical issues that we need to be aware of. Otherwise, we will be working to get this done as quickly as possible. And then just repeats that in the different languages.
She changed my model again,
So, what? Sorry.
as I will look at like a reflective surface and like makeup and more like aesthetically like personalized touches will appear on my holographic form.
Turns to Matan. I wasn't putting multiple personality hologram onto my I believe the term is bingo card today.
I'm just surprised at the particular sense of aesthetics. I like the natural look,
Well,
better personal taste. But you did order anyone to sickbay who needs assistance, so if you'll excuse me.
thank you, Doctor. Yes. And I guess if you could resume our
Yes,
course uh,
affirmative. I will
to the
need
Amaterasu,
to.
please.
I have adjusted my heading, and will make our way back to the mothership.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
All right. And because it's funny, I'm going to spend 6 threat that our final scene, as the Yatagaratsu resumes its warp travel to its destination, we just sort of pan down into engineering, where the warp core is quintuple wrapped with bubble wrap at this point. And Bob, who speaks in a Slavic accent apparently, says, "All right, if this is not enough bubble wrap, then I am not knowing what else to do, because, oh my lord, I have used every single box's bubble wrap except red box. I need more bubble wrap, though. Do I dare open the red box? I don't know." And
And just off to one side to emphasize the threat that you just spent. There's just a single LCAR screen just bleeping warp core overheating.
excellent. And yeah, that'll be where we wrap up for today. So what'd you all think?
Yeah. If it wasn't obvious, I was trying to make Igus the hologram more emotive than Igus the AI core.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yep.
that came in very clear.
Cool.
That characterization was quite distinct.
Very
Thanks.
much so. Yes. And yeah, great episode.
Yeah.
Just,
Very interesting start. I'm eager to get into it.
I feel woefully out of depth as a role player in a command role, so this is going to be interesting for everybody, I think.
It didn't come across that way.
Well, I definitely felt it, but thank you.
But it is a weird experience, isn't it?
Very much so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you have to feel like I want to make sure everyone's given their due. I don't want to take over too much,
Mm.
even though I'm in command and I kind of have to do that.
Mhm.
So there's that additional sense of mental pressure in addition to what you want to achieve to facilitate other people.
Also, I want to say I hope that me being like a bit like in every role, because I felt like I pushed myself a little bit because I'm the computer. I don't want to feel like too much like I'm trying to shoehorn myself into situations.
Oh no, not at all. Didn't feel that way.
Cool.
Yeah. No, it'll be
You have
something. Oh, go
you
ahead,
have your
Matt.
finger in every pie, but I'm sure we'll negotiate and find a place where everyone's comfortable. This is the first session,
Yeah.
so don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, Twitch, stick around because we're going to raid Simply, but YouTube, this is where we say goodbye. Have a good one, YouTube. Bye bye.
Bye bye.